Love don't live here anymore. Just a vacancy. Love don't live here anymore.
In free agency, the Texans signed 3 free agents this past week and traded quarterback Matt Sharp to Oakland on Friday. He gone. Love don't live here anymore. If I was DJ Screw right by now, I'd bring it back. I said the Texans traded Matt Sharp. I didn't say they cut him. I didn't say they hauled him out. They trade. Do you know somebody gave the Texans a draft pick for Matt Sharp? I am beside myself right now. Now I know what those weirdos feel like who touch themselves in movie theaters. Now back to reality. The Texans signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. And it don't stop. I feel like LL Cool J on that on that, let's be honest, on that horrible verse he did on the Craig Mack remix. What the hell was LL talking about? Here she. I don't know. But I just feel like, I feel confused right now, you know. A part of me says, you signed Ryan Fitzpatrick. Might as well have kept Matt Sharp. But hey, Matt Sharp is gone. I'm good, man. I'm good. And the Texans, I'm going to have some problems today as I settle in on the fact that Matt Sharp was traded, okay? So I may stumble and fumble a bit, and if I do, just bear with me, because I'm having a little moment of euphoria right now. Deal with it.
How good he is at his job, and when he does something that seems nearly impossible, there's no praise to come.
Do you really think Rick Smith was the guy who made that trade happen? I would bet it was either Wade Phillips or Chandler Parsons. Got to talk about the Texans being able to trade Matt Sharp to Oakland. They traded Matt Sharp to Oakland for a 6th-round pick in this year's draft. Sharp, just a little history, folks, was acquired by the Texans via trade from Atlanta. Nobody gives a damn. You just know we're really glad he's gone.
You abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore. Just a vacancy.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. It is HMW Sports Talk Live. There you saw it. A little clip from last week's show. Richard Walker likes to kind of find some highlights from the shows and put them together just to kind of let you folks know that not only are we complete self-promoting jackasses, but we have a lot of fun on this show. It just is what it is, and we just do it how we do it. And it's our hour. We'll promote it, and we'll do what we want to do on it. Damn it, that's just the way it is. Look, we talked a little bit about the Texans moving free agency, bringing in safety Chris Clemons from played with Miami last year, and we promised that we would get a little bit into the Deshaun Jackson story. We will do that, but before we do that, I definitely want to talk a little bit about Johnny Manziel, the Johnny Manziel Pro Day. You got to get our take here on HMW Sports Talk Live. It's all been said and done right now. You all know kind of what happened if you follow along. But if you don't follow along, we'll update you. Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, first guy to win the Heisman as a freshman. Had his pro day up at Texas A&M this week. By most accounts in the media nationally, which usually tends to set the tone of what the trend will be locally, because our local media is spineless, clueless in large part, and rarely, if ever, goes out and has the audacity to think for themselves or are even qualified to give good, credible football takes. Very few respecting this town that do that, and you've seen them here on this show. John Harris, Lance Zierlein, guys like that. But Johnny Manziel, 64 scripted passes. Angelo Lawford in studio from HMW. 64 scripted passes. He wore his helmet and shoulder pads. He worked from under center. He played rap music with the curse lyrics in it. He had visitors like the president, George Bush, the dad, and his wife, and a lot of talk about a lot of things that went on up in College Station. So let's just talk about the football part of it right now. We will touch on the other stuff because I got some thoughts on that too. But just the football side of it for the Texans and for our local concerns here in Houston. Johnny Manziel, listen, it's a pro day. Now you can say what you want about pro days and what they mean, what they don't mean. I think the pretty safe opinion is you can hurt yourself in a pro day. You probably, most of the time, can't help yourself much. But as I will say this, as much as a guy can help himself in a pro day, Johnny Manziel did.
I agree with
Just like as much as a guy can hurt himself in a pro day, Teddy Bridgewater did.
Right.
I don't think anything Johnny Manziel did changes my personal view. He's a guy that I'm excited about as a fan. But if I put on my GM hat and I got to go to bed at night and my job is associated with it, Johnny Manziel is a third-round draft pick prospect to me. He says everything that a coach wants to hear. He does pretty much everything that a coach would hope that a guy would do. He exhibits on the surface all of the qualities of leadership and self-confidence, the right amount of cockiness. But here's the deal with me and Johnny Manziel. I don't trust you.
Right.
I don't trust you. I appreciate you and I respect the fact that you're smarter than Deshaun Jackson, who we'll talk to in a minute. Here's why Johnny Manziel is smarter than Deshaun Jackson, Lamont, one of our charter members of HMW. Deshaun Jackson, who was recently cut by the Eagles, there were warning signs for him. See, being cut is like high blood pressure for African Americans. It's a silent killer. And in the NFL, being cut for anything other than football reasons or money reasons can be a silent killer to your career. It may be hard for you to overcome that. He's got the type of talent he can overcome it because he's going to get another job and he can play well. But the reason why I respect Johnny Manziel, who I don't trust any more than I trust you, Deshaun Jackson, but for different reasons. Here's the deal. The writing was on the wall for Deshaun Jackson that his ass was in trouble and he needed to get himself together and be a better professional.
All right.
Even if he wasn't going to be a better teammate, he needed to be a better professional.
Yeah, plus...
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this isn't anything new. I mean, he had some issues...
No, it's not.
Under Andy Reid.
That's
Michael
right.
Vick was there. So, I mean, it's not new that his name is kind of...
There was concerns with him coming out of school.
Right.
But my point is, let me finish the point. The point I'm making is he wasn't smart enough to play the game.
Yeah.
He wasn't smart enough to say, you know what, when he's sitting at home with his Cristal, with his legs crossed, smoking a stogie, or whatever, he wasn't smart enough to say, man, Chip Kelly can kiss my you know what.
Right.
But when I hit that field, I hit the clock.
Right.
And I'm going to do what I need to do to keep my money rolling.
Yeah.
Till I can get my next contract and move on. Johnny Manziel, I don't trust any more than I trust him. I think Johnny Manziel knows what people thinks about him or thought about him coming in as a prospect, and he's smart enough to say everything he needs to say, do everything he needs to do, and go beyond. And even though people like me, we feel like we see through it. We see directly through it. But I'm more likely to trust him than I am a Deshaun Jackson. I think the guys are equally talented. I think both are that special. That said, I can't draft you with the first overall draft pick, Johnny Manziel, because I trust history.
Right.
And history tells me that the guy that they compare you to, Russell Wilson, who you're not Russell Wilson, but the guy who they compare you to, history tells me that we don't see that enough in the NFL. So you mean to tell me I'm going to get 2 in a 3-year period? I'm going to get 2. There's going to be 2.
Right.
There's going to be 2 diminutive type quarterbacks that are going to play on a Super Bowl level in a 3-year period. I don't believe that. I believe that Johnny Manziel is more likely to be out of football in 3 to 5 years than he is to be Russell Wilson like. You know, that's just my opinion.
what I think about what you're saying, especially between Manziel and Jackson, is that you do have to. You like somebody who's bright enough, sharp enough
Play the game.
to adapt.
Play the game.
Yeah, just adapt to your morph into something, even if you're not that thing. Just morph into it to appease whomever you have to appease, whatever entity you have to appease. So yeah, I mean it's not a good look for Deshaun at this point that he finds himself in this predicament. But that said, I have a little bit of a problem with some of the. I'm hearing some.
Let's talk about that. Okay, so and we'll get to that because I'll let you do it. Deshaun Jackson finishes his 6-year career with the Eagles, 356 receptions, over 6,000 yards receiving, 39 touchdowns. This is awesome talent. Reports say the Eagles have serious concerns. This is where Angelo was going. Serious concerns about Jackson's continued association with reputed LA gang members tied to a pair of homicides. There's also a question about Jackson's attitude, work ethic, chemistry with Coach Kelly, and a penchant for missing team meetings to hang out with his friends. Now, HMW member Lamont Mann contacted us shortly before the show to advise us that LAPD has came out and released a statement saying that Deshaun Jackson is not on their watch list, target list, or radar, so to speak, paraphrasing, not under investigation. My cautionary warning there is, if the LAPD says it's true, obviously it's true, because we all know how professional and how well-tuned of a fine, respectful, honest operation the LAPD has shown to be in the history of this damn country. Freaking ridiculous. They may be honest, but if they were investigating Johnny Manziel, it's not Johnny Manziel, Deshaun Jackson,
right.
if he is on their watch list as a part of this murder investigation, and now it has leaked out and become national news and they're being associated with that investigation, what are they likely to come out and say? Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
We've been breached. We might as well tell the truth. No, they're going to say hogwash. It's not happening. I don't know, just speculating, but I just tell people before you get too caught up in that. But your take on this, part of your take on this is what?
Well, the information that came out after he was cut, I think it would sit better with me if some of that was leaked before he was cut. And so for me, for the Eagles not to have egg on their face, considering the talent that he is, it's kind of convenient that this negative information came out. Uber negative information, not necessarily.
The negative information has been a part of his tenure. The entire while there's been things. It's just culminating now to, it's peaking. There's been a crescendo from the time he entered to the league.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Related to the football issue, the not showing up for meetings, the kind of irresponsible attitude on the field, that sort of thing, quitting on plays. What he held out, right, for a bigger contract.
Yeah, well, we don't count that.
But those kind of things are kind of why he has that negative stigma. So more so than the other thing that we're talking about with the gang affiliation and the gang signs, that sort of thing. So it looks kind of convenient that would be reported after the fact and not before the fact. But
when you say after the fact, how was it reported after the fact? See, the reports is that he's been being warned all along about some concerns from the team in that area and about some of the company that he kept.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that was more of a part of the overall situation. And some of this stuff, and I think Lamont made a good point with this point. Hey, man, look, a lot of this stuff is just coming from the media. Yeah, but that works both ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? The stuff you're choosing not to buy into was also reported by the media, just like the stuff you're choosing to buy into was reported by the media. I mean, so it's all speculative to a point. But we all know through our own dealings, we have enough contacts within HMW with not only the media in regard to radio, but with our relationship with different people, more so with myself, with the local sports teams to some level. Hey man, that's sometimes, probably more times than not, there's some smoke where there's fire. we know a lot of things around this town about some people that we have never said anything about publicly for the most part.
Right.
There are stories that never became stories.
Right.
I don't know. We could go on with this and on with it. I think a story like this has so many different arteries to it. We could just probably eat up an entire hour on it, because it's not just about Deshaun Jackson. It can go off in all type of areas of how different people are perceived. And I tell you what, we'll stay with it a little bit more going into the third segment. All right, we're getting close, folks. Half of the show is just about in the books. This one has a few more legs, and we do that on this show. We'll roll with it a little bit more. So we'll get ready to roll to a break here in just a few minutes, and when we come back, we'll touch on this a little bit more. I want to read Deshaun Jackson's statement for those of you that may not have heard his statement in reply to this situation, because he went to the guard card, and there's nothing like getting in trouble or going to the penitentiary and things like that and finding the guard card. Hashtag love the Lord. You know, I love it when guys do that, all right? So hanging out, we're going to roll to a break. This is HMW Sports Talk Live. My beautiful camera assistant is holding that camera, letting me know that we got to get up out of here pretty soon on the break. I bet I'm getting count. What, I got 5 seconds here, 10 seconds. Somebody tell me, where am I at? I'm going to take it on out of here. Hanging there, folks. It's HMW Sports Talk Live. We will be right back.